Yep. Ding, ding, let's go. So, there's this scene in the movie Liar, Liar with Jim Carrey. There's this scene every once in a while. It plays in my head, and it's the line specifically. And I'll give you the context. So, this line, it plays out. Well, I'll give you the context in the movie. So, in the movie, spoiler alert, in the movie, some supernatural occurrence happens where the father lawyer character can't lie anymore. And then, he goes through these waves of emotions and just realizes what's going on. And he tries to, make his way through life being a lawyer and a, kind of a crappy parent, but not being able to lie anymore. And so he tries to get out of this case, or at least, get it, delayed. So he beats himself up in the bathroom and pretends or tries to get the judge to think that somebody else beat him up and that they need to delay this trial, this court situation. Trial, we'll use the word trial. So he beats himself up in the bathroom, and he, inevitably gets found by a guard because they were looking for him. So he gets carried in, and he looks all beat up and, clothes ripped and whatnot. And the judge says something like, well, due to the circumstances, we'll have to, delay the rest of this trial. And then the next part he says is, unless, of course, you feel that you could still proceed, right? And then Jim Carrey's character, because he can't lie, he has to tell the truth. And after some, resistance and hesitation, he says, yes, I can. Obviously, he does a better job at acting, but this concept I'm bringing up for its significance and its importance, that not only the situation of what's happening, but the internals, the feeling of moments like that in our lives where integrity, we'll just say integrity personified, is saying, to you at a crossroads situation, at a, basically, like in D&D, Dungeons and Dragons, where it's like, all right, roll for agility. I don't know. I haven't played in a while, but roll for integrity, right? So it's like you're at this point where you have to make a decision point, and yes, life affects you and you affect life simultaneously, but you're at this crossroads, you're at this moment where it's a decision point. So the voice of integrity says, in this situation, let's just say more specifically that you are feeling and saying to yourself, like, I don't want to do this, and then you're like trying to convince yourself that you can't do this. But if there's an internal struggle where on a heart and soul level, you do feel like you need to go through this, like that you do need to experience this, that you do need to get this finished or get immersed, like this is on that level, like actually for you. And then the mind and emotions can be trying to pull you in the opposite direction, like, this, will be, offending me, or this will be, not really, somebody else can do it, or this isn't like really for me, I don't think so. But if you feel it on a heart and soul level that this is for you, this situation should be enacted, completed, went through via you, then the voice of integrity comes in and says, okay, well, it seems like you've given me reasons that you can't do it. So maybe you don't have to do it if you feel like you're too weak or too whatever. Unless, of course, you feel at your heart and soul level that you can still proceed. And this is important to go through within ourselves, where the more and more that I'm getting in touch with my integrity, the more and more I'm seeing that there is a difference, right? Just imagine this sort of like Foursquare, right? Where it's like, I don't want, or we'll do the don't wants at the bottom. Let's see, left to right. Here we go. I want to do it, and my integrity, my heart and soul integrity is saying that it's right. I want to do it. My heart and soul says it's right. I want to do it. My heart and soul says it's not right. And I made that distinguishing between not right being different from wrong, where something in the grand scheme of things can be not right for you and then right for someone else. So to say something is wrong, well, let's not get into that, because then the moral relativism, tries to seep in, where it's like, oh, well, are you saying it can be right for murder, yada, yada, yada. Let's just keep it simple in saying the rightness for you, your heart and soul, and you could argue that everyone's heart and soul, if it's cleared out enough, will see the righteousness in protection and care for all things and all people. Okay. So there's want to do it, heart and soul says it's right. Want to do it, heart and soul says it's not right. Don't want to do it, heart and soul says it's not right anyway. So you would be in your integrity, in your soul integrity, if you didn't do it anyway. And then there's don't want to do it, but the soul integrity says it's the best for me. So that's a tricky situation, those two, where don't want to do it, but the soul integrity says do it. And then want to do it, but the soul integrity says don't do it. So those, are examples are, addictions, cravings, the lustful things. And then the don't want to do it, but the heart and soul integrity says do it. In my experience, that's been something that feels very metaphysical, very godly. The heart, the soul, the intuition, you can even throw like the subconscious in there. The goings on of life that we're not fully consciously aware of, that we're not fully consciously considering. I feel like for the situations of the yes, no, or the no but yes, right? The no but yes, the yes but no, those situations I feel are very metaphysical in nature, where the conscious mind, the consciousness is playing out, but there are things going on behind the scenes that we're not consciously considering and connecting to, arguably for our own benefit. Because when we embrace this concept of mystery, we're saying there are things that we don't know, and there are things that we don't know that we don't know. So therefore, if that's an existential certainty, an existential truth, an existential inevitability, that there's going to be unknowns, that there's going to be mystery, therefore, I'm going to do the best of what I can. And I feel like the connecting point between our conscious and our subconscious / metaphysical is the heart and soul, where it's like, I'm getting this sort of hazy, wispy feeling, sort of messaging of a metaphysical nature that barely ever makes logical sense. But there's just like a feeling of rightness to it. I don't want to say righteousness, because that word has a whole lot of baggage. But there's just like a rightness. There's just a natural needingness to it. There's a godliness to it. There's a deep yesness to it that, like, my mind and emotions may be denying or just flat out saying no to. But this deeper inner metaphysical thing going on within me on a deeper level is saying, yes, go through it, go do it, go make it happen, go forth, be in the situation. And it may be painful, it may be uncomfortable, it may be tense, but going through it and essentially surviving it is what, on the deepest level, we're meant to go through. Whew! So yeah, the quoted phrase from the movie Liar Liar, when he's in his truth, when he can't deny it anymore, the judge, the voice of soul integrity, seeing that you're in a bad spot, physically perhaps, mentally perhaps, emotionally perhaps, and saying, I see that you're in your current state. You may deny this call unless of course, you feel that you can still proceed, right? And it goes in line with always getting another chance at life. So this most inner voice, this heart and soul, this intuition, you can take on the challenge of the soul integrity or not. But it's just going to lightly, tenderly be asking, unless, of course, you feel you can still proceed. And no judgment. Whether you answer the call or not, no judgment. But if you do answer the call, there's going to be some clarifying and expanding on a heart and soul core level that is going to be beyond our conscious knowledge. It's the mystery beckoning, and if we answer the call, the mystery becomes knowledge, becomes wisdom, becomes our depth, our soul clarity and expanse. And no one can take that away from us. And we needn't explain that, compromise about that, argue that, justify that for anyone. No need. Woo! All right, let's call that. Let's pay our respects. Deep respect to you, deep respect to me for being alive, for surviving, for at any point answering those soul calls. But honestly, just for surviving and for just the general willingness to do better, to become more clear and expanded in yourself, your most inner being, and to carry that forth outwards in love and care and giving, and in that betterment of self, betterment of others. It's a beautiful thing. And thank you to life, the mystery, the nature, all of the given faculties, the faculties that were given to us just straight up, all of the senses, all of the 6 senses, the body, the mind, the emotions, the heart and soul, the fact that they're all working, and they're working better and better to the extent that we're willing and able to clarify and expand ourselves at the deepest levels. Respect, respect, respect to any and all of that work being done. Respect to, again, to nature, the great mystery, giving these gifts. All the elements, all the food, the water, the air, the shelter, the community, the relationships, the symbiosis. It's freaking awesome. Anyway, it's Mac 11. Catch you later.